Ladies and gentlemen, Ultimate Oldies Radio presents part 2 of the number one songs for 1974. Hi, this is Bob Mathers. We're into the second half of our musical doubleheader. And the first number one to start the month of July that year belongs to the Hughes Corporation.
So I'd like to know where you got the notion. Said I'd like to know where you got the notion. Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat, don't tip the boat over. Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat. Ever since our voyage of love began, your touch has thrilled me like the rush of the wind, and your arms have held me safe from a rolling sea. There's always been a quiet place to harbor you and me. Our love is like a ship on the ocean. We've been sailing with a cargo full of love and devotion. So I'd like to know where you got the notion. Said I'd like to know where you got the notion. Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat, don't tip the boat over. Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat. Up to now we sailed through every storm, and I've always had your tender lips to keep me warm. Oh, I need to have the strength that flows from you. Don't let me drift away, my dear, when love can see me through. Our love is like a ship on the ocean. We've been sailing with a cargo full of love and devotion. So I'd like to know where you got the notion. Said I'd like to know where you got the notion. So I'd like to know where you got the notion. Said I'd like to know where you got the notion. Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat, don't tip the boat over. Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat, don't tip the boat over. Rock the boat, ooh, ooh, ooh. Rock the boat, rock on with your Betsy. Rock the boat, rock on with your Betsy. Rock the boat, rock on with your Betsy. Rock the boat, roll yeah, roll yeah, rock the boat, roll yeah, roll yeah, rock the boat. Rock the boat, 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 rock the boat.
July 6, 1974 sees the Hughes Corporation get to number one for 1 week with Rock the Boat. Ultimate Oldies Radio remembers July 1974 as West Germany beats the Netherlands to win the World Cup. Elmer Henley is sentenced to life imprisonment for his role in murdering 28 boys in Texas from 1970 to 73. And on July 20th of 1974, the Turks invade the island of Cyprus. On the charts for 2 weeks in the month of July, another tune with the word rock in the title, and it would be the only hit record for this guy. Here's George McRae with Rock Your Baby. George McRae's Rock Your Baby, number one from mid-July of 74 at Ultimate Oldies Radio. George's wife, Gwen McRae, would have her one and only hit the following year. It didn't make number one, but got well into the top 10, a little ditty called Rockin' Chair. We go from July into August with our next number one record that stays at the top for 2 weeks, and it's the second number one of 74 for John Denver.
You fill up my senses like a night in a forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. Come, let me love you, let me give my life to you. Let me drown in your laughter, let me die in your arms, let me lay down beside you, let me always be with you. Come, let me love you, come love me again. Like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again.
Ultimate Oldies Radio remembers the number one songs of a very good year.
1974.
Strolling in the park, watching winter turn to spring. Walking in the dark, seeing lovers do their thing. Ooh, that's the time I feel like making love to you. That's the time I feel like making dreams come true. Oh, baby, when you talk to me, when you're moaning sweet and low, when you're touching me and my feelings start to show. Ooh, that's the time I feel like making love to you. That's the time I feel like making dreams come true. Oh, baby, in a restaurant, like making love to you. That's the time. Feel like making dreams come true. Oh, baby, strolling in the park, watching winter turn to spring. Walking in the dark, seeing lovers do the thing.
Roberta Flack's Feel Like Making Love was at number 1 for 1 week, the week of August 10 of 1974. Ultimate Oldies Radio remembers news from the month of August as Felipe Petit crosses between both twin towers of the World Trade Center in New York City in a spectacular high-wire walking act. And by far, the biggest news of the month and of the year occurred on August 9th of 1974 from the Oval Office at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, when Richard Nixon resigned the presidency.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow. Vice President Ford will be sworn in as president at that hour in this office.
Next up on the parade of number 1 tunes for 74 comes from the week of August 17, Paper Lace, another one-hit wonder with The Night Chicago Died.
Daddy was a cop on the east side of Chicago, back in the USA, back in the bad old days. In the heat of a summer night, in the land of the dollar bill, when the town of Chicago died, and they talk about it still. When a man named Al Capone tried to make that town his own, and he called his gang to war with the forces of the law, I heard my mama cry, I heard her pray the night Chicago died. Brother, what a night it really was. Brother, what I thought it really was. Glory be. I heard my mama cry, I heard her pray the night Chicago died. Brother, what a night the people saw. Brother, what a night the people saw. Yes, indeed. And the sound of the battle rang through the streets of the old east side, till the last of the hoodlum gang had surrendered up or died. They were shouting in the street and the sound of running feet. And I asked someone who said, about 100 cops are dead. I heard my mama cry, I heard her pray the night Chicago died. Brother, what a night it really was. Brother, what I thought it really was. Glory be. I heard my mama cry, I heard her pray the night Chicago died. Brother, what a night the people saw. Brother, what a night the people saw. Yes, indeed. Then there was no sound at all but the clock upon the wall. Then the door burst open wide and my daddy stepped inside, and he kissed my mama's face and he brushed her tears away. The night Chicago died. The night Chicago died. Brother, what a night the people saw. Brother, what a fight the people saw. Yes, indeed. The night Chicago died. The night Chicago died. Brother, what a night it really was. Brother, what a fight it really was. Glory be. The night Chicago died.
Ticking clocks upon the wall and a man named Al Capone. All that's missing now is Mrs. O'Leary and her Cal. The night Chicago died, Paper Lace, number one for the week of August 17, 1974. A retrospective year in review this time around at Ultimate Oldies Radio. This is Bob Mathers. To the week of August 24th we go. Starting that week and for the next two, one of a handful of songs that were at number one for 3 weeks in 1974. And again, a guy who makes a comeback after his big popularity run of the 50s and 60s came to an end on the charts. Although throughout the rest of the 60s, he never stopped having success, writing songs for others, scoring movies, and making appearances in concerts. We're speaking of Paul Anka, who along with Odia Coates sells 1 million copies with this one.
Having my baby, what a lovely way of saying how much you love me. Having my baby, what a lovely way of saying what you're thinking of me. I can see it, your face is glowing. I can see it in your eyes, I'm happy in knowing that you're having my baby. You're the woman I love and I love what it's doing to you. Having my baby. You're a woman in love and I love what's going through you. The need inside you, I see it showing. Oh, the seed inside you, baby, do you feel it growing? Are you happy in knowing that you're having my baby?
I'm a woman in love and I love what it's doing to me.
Having my baby.
I'm a woman in love and I love what's going through me.
Didn't have to keep it, wouldn't put you through it. You could have swept it from your life, but you wouldn't do it. No, you wouldn't do it. And you're having my baby.
I'm a woman in love and I love what it's doing to me.
Having my baby.
I'm a woman in love and I love what's going through me.
Having my baby. Having my baby. What a lovely
The best memories are here on Ultimate Oldies Radio. The number ones for 1974. Moving to the week of September 14th and Eric Clapton.
I shot the sheriff.
But I did not shoot the deputy.
I shot the sheriff.
But I didn't shoot the deputy. All around in my hometown, they're trying to track me down. They say they want to bring me in guilty for the killing of a deputy, for the life of a deputy. But I say,
I shot the sheriff.
but I swear it was in self-defense.
I shot the sheriff.
And they say it is a capital offense. Sheriff John Brown always hated me. For what? I don't know. And every time that I plant a seed, he said kill it before it grows. He said kill it before it grows. I say,
I shot the sheriff.
but I swear it was in self-defense.
I shot the sheriff.
I swear it was in self-defense. Freedom came my way one day, and I started out of town there. All of a sudden I see Sheriff John Brown aiming to shoot me down. So I shot him down. I said, I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. Reflexes got the better of me, and what is to be must be. Every day the bucket goes to the well, but one day the bottom will drop out. Yes, one day the bottom will drop out. I say, I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. Oh no, I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot no deputy. Oh no.
Written by reggae icon Bob Marley, Eric Clapton takes I Shot the Sheriff to number 1 for the second week of September 1974. Ultimate Oldies Radio remembers news from that month. TWA Flight 841 crashes minutes after takeoff from an airport in Athens, killing 88 people. A bomb exploded in the cargo hold. Daredevil Evel Knievel fails to cross the Snake River Canyon in Idaho in his rocket-propelled Sky Cycle. And President Gerald Ford pardons former President Richard Nixon. And on the charts at number 1 for the week of September 21st of 1974, it's the second appearance at the top in that year for Barry White.
I've heard people say that too much of anything is not good for you, baby. But I don't know about that. As many times as we've loved and we've shared love and made love, it doesn't seem to me like it's enough. It's just not enough, baby. It's just not enough. Oh, baby. My darling, I can't get enough of your love, babe. Girl, I don't know why I can't get enough of your love, babe. Lord, some things I can't get used to, no matter how I try. It's like the more you give, the more I want. And baby, that's no lie. Oh no, babe. Tell me, what can I say? What am I gonna do? How should I feel when everything is you? What kind of love is this that you're giving me? Is it in your kiss or just because you're sweet? Girl, all I know is every time you're here, I feel a change, something moving. I scream your name. Look what you got to do it, darling. I can't get enough of your love, baby. Girl, I don't know why. I can't get enough of your love, baby. Oh no, baby. Girl, if I could only make you see and make you understand. Girl, your love for me is all I need, and more than I can stand. Oh, well, babe, how can I explain all the things I feel? You've given me so much, girl, you're so unreal still. I keep loving you more and more each time. Girl, what am I gonna do? 'Cause you're blowing my mind. I get the same old feeling every time you're here. I feel a change, something moving. I scream your name. Look what you got to do, and darling, I can't get enough of your love, baby. Oh no, baby. Baby, it didn't take all of my life to find you, but you can believe it's gonna take the rest of my life to keep you. Oh, baby.
In the beginning of 1974, Barry White's Love Unlimited Orchestra hit number one with Love's Team. Now, in the fall of the year, Barry hits number one and puts his voice on vinyl with Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe. And we can't get enough of the number one tunes from 1974 on Ultimate Oldies Radio. Our next number one record was also at the top for 1 week, and it comes from a guy who had his first taste of chart success in the 60s, but he had a different sound at first, more of a high-pitched delivery. With this tune, he was mistaken by many as Neil Diamond's, but he wasn't, and he still isn't. Andy Kim with Rock Me Gently on Ultimate Oldies Radio.
Ain't it good, ain't it right, that you are with me here tonight, music playing, our bodies swaying in time, touching you so warm and tender, Lord, I feel such a sweet surrender, beautiful is the dream that makes you mine. Rock me gently, rock me slowly, take it easy, don't you know that I have never been loved like this before? Baby, baby, rock me gently, rock me slowly, take it easy, don't you know that I have never been loved like this before? Darling, oh my baby, you got the moves that drive me crazy, and on your face I see a trace of love. Come hold me close, don't let me go, I need you honey, I love you so, you were made for me by the stars above. Rock me gently, rock me slowly, take it easy, don't you know that I have never been loved like this before? And baby, baby, rock me gently, rock me slowly, take it easy, don't you know that I have never been loved like this before? Rock me slowly, take it easy, don't you know that I have never been loved like this before. Ain't it good? Ain't it right that you are with me here tonight? Rock me gently, rock me slowly, take it easy, don't you know that I have never been loved like this before?
Canadian-American Andy Kim with Rock Me Gently, his number one contribution to the top songs of 1974 at Ultimate Oldies Radio. Olivia Newton-John's first hit on U.S. charts was If Not For You, the Bob Dylan composition in the summer of 1971. And in this 1974 retrospective in the first week of October, she has her first number one U.S. hit. It was also a top 10 country song, I Honestly Love You.
Baby, I hang around here a little more than I should. We both know I got somewhere else to go. But I got something to tell you that I never thought I would. But I believe you really ought to know. Honestly love you. You don't have to answer, I see it in your eyes. Maybe it was better left unsaid. But this is pure and simple, and you must realize that it's coming from my heart and not my head. I love you. I honestly love you. I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable. I'm not trying to make you anything at all. But this feeling doesn't come along every day, and you shouldn't blow the chance when you've got the chance to say I love you. I love you. Honestly love you. If we both were born in another place and time, this moment might be ending in a kiss. But there you are with yours, and here I am with mine. So I guess we'll just be leaving it at this. I love you. I honestly love you. I honestly love you.
From the Beatles to the Bee Gees, Buddy Holly to Donna Summer, it's 30 years of the greatest hits of all time on UltimateOldiesRadio.com.
Number one.
For the week of October 19, 1974, Billy Preston.
Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You gotta have something if you wanna be with me. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You gotta have something if you wanna be with me. in the war on poverty. Yeah, yes, you gotta have something if you wanna be with me. Oh, baby. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You gotta have something if you wanna be with me. That's right, baby. Yeah.
Billy Preston with one of the more universally accepted mathematical equations ever created. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Even I can figure that one out. This is Bob Mathers, and you're listening to Ultimate Oldies Radio's review of all of the number one songs in chronological order for the year of 1974. Back in 1962, Dionne Warwick had her first hit record, a beautiful song called Don't Make Me Over, and lots more hits followed after that, but none of them ever made number one until this one here. Here's Dionne Warwick and the Spinners for the week of October 26, 1974. Then Came You.
Ever since I met you, seems I can't forget you. The thought of you keeps running through the back of my mind. Every time I'm near you, I get that urge to feel you. Just touching you and loving you makes everything right.
Tell me how you feel, baby.
Never knew love before. Then came you. Then came you. I never knew love before. Then came you. Then came you. Now that I have found you, how did I live without you?
I don't know, baby.
It's plain to see you're all I need to satisfy me. I'm so darn proud of you. I wanna sing about you.
Sing it, sing it, sing it,
All
baby.
you know, you made love wrong by touching my hand. Oh, I never knew love before. Then came you. Then came you. I never knew love before. Then came you. Then came you. Hey, then came you. I never knew love before. Then came you. Then came you. I never knew love before. Then came you. Then came you. I never knew love before. Then came you. I never knew love before. Then came you.
With your love and touch. Put it to me, that your loving I gotta get. Hey, hey.
Dionne Warwick and the Spinners. Then Came You, the number one record for October 26th of the year. This is Bob Mathers. You're listening to Ultimate Oldies Radio, the second of our two-part look back at the year of 1974 in news and in song. Every big hit from that year in chronological order. While Dion and the Spinners were making headlines with the number one record, Muhammad Ali was making a little news of his own. On October 30th of the year, Ali takes on George Foreman in the famous Rumble in the Jungle heavyweight boxing match in the country of Zaire. Ali knocks out Foreman in 8 rounds to regain the heavyweight title, which had been stripped from him some 7 years before when Ali refused induction into the military draft. As we get into November and the number one record for November 2nd of 1974, here's Stevie Wonder with a little help from the Jackson 5 and You Haven't Done Nothing.
We are amazed but not amused by all the things you say that you do. Though much concerned but not involved with decisions that are made by you. But we are sick and tired of hearing your song, telling how you are gonna change right from wrong. 'Cause if you really want to hear our views, you haven't done nothing. It's not too cool to be ridiculed, but you brought this up on yourself. The world is tired to pacify. We want the truth and nothing else, yeah. And we are sick and tired of hearing your song, telling how you're gonna change right from wrong. 'Cause if you really want to hear our views, you haven't done nothing. Jackson 5 to along when we say do-do-wop, yeah, do-do-wop, oh, oh, do-do-wop, do-do-wop, oh, do-do-wop, do-do-wop. We would not care to wake up to the nightmare that's becoming real life. But when misled, who knows a person's mind can turn as cold as ice. Why do you keep on making us hear your song, telling us how you're changing right from wrong? 'Cause if you really wanna hear our views, you haven't done nothing. Yeah, nothing. Something about you can say do-do-wop, do-do-wop, oh, do-do-wop, do-do-wop, ding it, do-do-wop, do-do-wop, do-do-wop. Say it loud for your people, say do-do-wop, do-do-wop, stand up, be calm and say do-do-wop.
Your music and your memories on Ultimate Oldies Radio. 1974 is where we are, the week of November 9. When this record was recorded, the manager of the group wanted to have the single released, but Randy Bachman, lead singer of this act, said no. Finally, after 3 weeks, he said, go ahead and do it. I bet it does nothing. Bachman Turner Overdrive with their song that stayed 1 week at number one. Baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet.
She took my heart away. She said I've had it coming to me, but I wanted it that way. I think that any love is good loving, so I took what I could get. She looked at me with big brown eyes and said, ain't seen nothing yet. yet. But baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. Here's something you never gonna forget, baby. You know, you just ain't seen nothing yet. You need education. Gotta go to school.
BTO, you ain't seen nothing yet. 1974, mid-November is where we are now at Ultimate Oldies Radio. And next up, another song that stayed at number one for just 1 week, but there's a great story behind it. When this tune was recorded in the studio, the performer had a very good friend whom you and I know of, named Elton John. And Elton John said to this guy after the song was mixed down, he said, "This is going to be a number one record." And the guy said, "No, it won't." Elton John said, "If it is, then you will perform with me in concert." Well, the song got to number one, and at the end of November of 1974, John Lennon made what was to be his last public performance, working with Elton John at Madison Square Garden. Whatever gets you through the night, as Ultimate Oldies Radio remembers. Not only was John Lennon the last of the four Beatles to have a number one solo hit, it was his only solo number one. Whatever gets you through the night. Ultimate Oldies Radio, 1974, takes us now to the last 2 weeks in November. And before we get to the song, a little bit of the news from November of 74. Billy Joel releases his song, The Entertainer. It would be his first chart success of many hits to come. The Democratic Party in the U.S. makes big gains nationwide in the House, the Senate, and gubernatorial elections. And on November 13th, Ronald DeFeo Jr. murders his entire family in their home in Amityville on Long Island, New York, an event that inspires the story of the Amityville Horror. For the weeks of November 23rd and 30th to wrap up the 11th month of 1974, longtime songwriter and session musician Billy Swan finds himself a nugget in the gold mine with I Can Help.
If you got a problem, don't care what it is. If you need a hand, I can assure you this. I can help. I got two strong arms. I can help. It would sure do me good to do you good. Let me help. It's bad that people get lonely. Ain't nothing new, but a woman like you, babe, should never have the blues. Let me help. I got two for me. Let me help. It would sure do me good to do you good. Let me help. When I go to sleep at night, you're always a part of my dream. Holding me tight, telling me everything I wanna hear. Don't forget me, babe. All you gotta do is call. You know how I feel about you. I can do anything at all. Let me help. If your child needs a dad, I can help. It would sure do me good to do you good. Let me help. When I go to sleep at night, you're always a part of my dream. Holding me tight and telling me everything I wanna hear. Oh, don't forget me, babe. All you gotta do is call. You know how I feel about you. If I can do anything at all, let me help. A child needs a dad, I can help. It would sure do me good to do you good. Let me help.
For the weeks of November 23rd and 30th, 1974, Billy Swan's I Can Help. Ultimate Oldies Radio with 1 month to go in our 1974 retrospective. To the news of the month of December. Tragedy near Washington, D.C. on December 1st. A Boeing 727 crashes 25 miles short of Dulles Airport during bad weather. All lose their lives. The city of Darwin, Australia is almost completely destroyed by Cyclone Tracy. And the island of Malta becomes a republic. The first number one in December of 1974 happens for the weeks of December 7th and 14th, and it capitalizes on a big craze fueled in part by a number of movies with this theme, and most of all, an actor by the name of Bruce Lee. Remember him? Of course you do. And putting it all together is a guy named Carl Douglas.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening, but they fought with expert timing. There were funky Chinamen from funky Chinatown. They were chopping them up, they were chopping them down. It's an ancient Chinese art, and everybody knew their part. From a fainting to a slip, and a kicking from the hip. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. Yeah. But they fought with expert timing. There was Funky Billy Chin and Little Sammy Chung. He said, here comes the big boss. Let's get it on. We took the bow and made a stand. Started swaying with the hand. A sudden motion made me skip. Now we're into a brand new trip. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening, but they did it with expert timing.
Everybody kung fu. Just be careful now. If you were around back then, you're a little older now and may not be able to move quite as fast. Carl Douglas, number one, first 2 weeks of December 74. To the week of December 21st of that year, and a song that if is ever one that's a signature for an artist, this would be for him. He said, when interviewed about this record, that he got the idea from his wife, from her first husband, and his father saw a very dysfunctional relationship. And the singer himself said, regarding himself and his son, this reminds me as well of my relationship. Frankly, it scares me to death. In any event, a lot of people can relate to the storyline. Here's Harry Chapin at number one for 1 week near the end of 74 with Cats in the Cradle.
A child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking for I knew it. And as he grew, he'd say, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be like you. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. My son turned 10 just the other day. He said, thanks for the ball, Dad, come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw? I said, not today, I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay, and he walked away, but his smile never dimmed. Said, I'm gonna be like him, yeah, you know I'm gonna be like him. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then.
the other day, so much like a man I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you, can you sit for a while? He shook his head and he said with a smile, what I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later, can I have them please? And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. You know we'll have a good time then. I've long since retired, my son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I can find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle and the kids are the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's been sure nice talking to you. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. We're gonna have a good time there.
Harry Chapin's Cats in the Cradle, number one for the week of December 21st of 1974. As we said at the beginning of the program, 36 different songs made number one for the year on Billboard's compilation. The Cashbox magazine came up with 49 of them. We went with Billboard on this one. And let's wrap up our two-part look at the year of 1974 with a story of a young lady who lives her life in the song she hears on the rock and roll radio. Here's Australia's Helen Reddy with the story of Angie Baby.
You live your life in the songs you hear on the rock and roll radio. And when a young girl doesn't have any friends, that's a really nice place to go. Folks hoping you'd turn out cool, but they had to take you out of school. You're a little touched, you know, Angie Baby. Lovers appear in your room each night and they whirl you across the floor, but they always seem to fade away when your daddy taps on your door. Angie girl, are you alright? Tell the radio good night. All alone once more, Angie Baby. Angie Baby, you're a special lady, living in a world of make-believe. Well, maybe. Stopping at her house is a neighbor boy with evil on his mind, 'cause he's been peeking in Angie's room at night through her window blind. I see you folks have gone away. Would you dance with me today? I'll show you how to have a good time, Angie Baby. Angie Baby. Angie Baby. When he walks in her room, he feels confused, like he walked into a play. And the music's so loud, it spins him around till his soul has lost its way. And as she turns the volume down, he's getting smaller with the sound. It seems to pull him off the ground toward the radio he's bound, never to be found. The headlines read that a boy disappeared and everyone thinks he died, except a crazy girl with a secret lover who keeps her satisfied. It's so nice to be insane, no one asks you to explain. Radio by your side, Angie Baby. Angie Baby, you're a special lady, living in a world of make-believe.
Glenn Reddy's Angie Baby, number 1 for 1 week, December 28th, as we put the wraps on a retrospective of news and the number ones for the year 1974. This original Ultimate Oldies radio feature was produced at our studios in Hanover, Pennsylvania. We hope you've enjoyed our program today and that you'll check back to our website for additional programs in the days and weeks to come. In the meantime, this is Bob Mathers inviting you to go with the good Lord Jesus Christ and put your trust in Him because He loves you very, very much. Thanks for listening and for telling a friend about UltimateOldiesRadio.com.